Hello everyone. We didn't see each other for half a year, and I'm so happy to see you again at the beginning of New Year. It's only mid-January, so I think it is still proper to wish you very happy New Year. And I hope that this year will bring you the opportunity to look inside of yourself and check all the truth you have in you, and you may realize that some of them are not necessary to keep for longer. So review everything, and with this new year, create new future for yourself and therefore for others. But coming back to our dowsing problems, sometimes people ask me in emails and comments if really they have to buy a huge pendulum. However, they think that it's too big and too heavy. And that's why title of this video is Does Size Matters? And I know that it will be ha for many people because it will have sexual context. But in dowsing, it is a huge dilemma for many people. Size of the pendulum and weight of the pendulum. Let's dedicate today's video to this topic. If you will visit our website, intuitivedowsing.com, then you can see that, for example, in ISIS pendulums, we have that humongous pendulum, which is 21 centimeters long, which is 8.5 inches, and this size, or even smaller than this. But I took a little bit bigger size for you to see it clearly and to see also the difference in size. Why pendulums need different sizes? Well, because first of all, some people like small pendulums, like small and light pendulums. It is because their body is smaller and they are more fragile. On the top of everything else, they are used to using very light pendulum, mostly wooden one. Many pendulums which are made humongous in size are made of wood. So, for example, bigger Mer Isis 8.8, which means almost 9 centimeters, which means 3.5 inches long, and 3.5 inches, which means almost 9 centimeters in diameter, made of brass, weighs almost 2 pounds. And this is 2 pounds of brass which you have to carry in your hand when you perform the treatment with it. Therefore, we have done the same size of pendulum of wood, which is a lot lighter, of course, than the brass one. The same is, for example, with Karnak. As you remember, Karnak is a pendulum which releases negative green vibration, therefore it has to be unlocked and disconnected when it doesn't work, but when it works we need to put them together. And then this is the biggest size of 25 centimeters, which is almost 10 inches, and that's the smallest size, 4.5 centimeters, which means not even 2 inches. Okay, now let's think about it. Why? Energy is released normally by surface. So in pendulums, in dowsing in general, biggest surface you have, more energy you can get from this shape in the same time unit. So if this Isis pendulum releases X amount of energy, then this size, because of the bigger area, a lot bigger area, will release N time X amount of energy. Multiplication of this, just because the surface is bigger and it will release more energy. With time and some research, we came with the idea that increasing the surface does not have to really be done by creating bigger shape, but rather by increasing the area through the bigger amount of rings, because every ring is called amplifier because it represents certain amount of energy which this shape will give out. This pendulum, however, it is equal to this in a size, differs in weight, therefore this one will release more energy because weight counts also than this one. Let me show you how it works. If I will take small Isis, this is actually super Isis, but it's still small, and I will find my wavelength and say, and I will multiply it because it's not comfortable to hold it that close. If you want to know more about how to find your wavelength, there is a video which is on this channel, which is called The Wavelength, Your Passport to Dowsing. So please refer to this to learn how to find your wavelength. So if I will have this and I will say balance my whole system or whole energetic system, then it starts to rotate, and it rotates to the right, which means it supplies me with energy. And then my energy, sorry, my hand is moving because of this energy. Okay, and it stopped. Now, which means I am supplied with energy by this pendulum. Now, if I will take a bigger pendulum, it doesn't have to be that big, but generally speaking, bigger pendulum, then, and at the same wavelength, and I will say balance my whole system, then you see that it still works, because this pendulum, due to its surface, let me just let it work. Okay, done. Releases more energy, therefore my system can take more energy from it. That's why when you see the pendulums called Isis, you can see Isis 6, Isis 4, and then 2 or 3 sizes of number 4, which means with 4 rings like this one. Or you can go into super Isis, which is every type of Isis above 4 rings, which means those Isises which have more than four rings. Not every, from spiritual point of view, which is important in delivering energy to you, not every number supply you with energy in the same manners. So there is super Isis 6, super Isis 8, super Isis 7, super Isis 8, then super Isis 11, and then we go into frequencies of gold, because those are all pendulums releasing white light, and then we go into gold, and we will have Super Isis 16 in two versions, which is our version and Egyptian version, which, as you can see, is smaller and lighter. And again, often people ask me before they choose which pendulum to buy, what is the difference between them? And however, there is on our website, we always give the size and always give the weight of the pendulum. Not everyone understands this difference. That's why I have decided to start this year videos with basics, because those are for European scientific dowsing. Those are bases. Remember them. Bigger the size, more energy you will get. Heavier it is, more energy, faster this energy will be delivered to you. Also, we have to pay attention to this, that the lighter pendulum will move faster just because of the light of the pendulum. So don't compare the speed of movement of this pendulum on that pendulum. So if I will, let's say that I will take this pendulum and say balance my solar plexus. And as you can see, it starts to work like a little bit crazy. Very many people are happy because, oh, look how it is, look how much energy you use, you need, just because this pendulum works so fast. That is part of the truth, but another factor of it is that pendulum is light. It releases a lot of energy, but because it is light in weight, it starts to deliver this energy very, very fast, and therefore it rotates faster. If I will take the same size of pendulum, but made of brass, and I will say, balance my solar plexus, it works like this. It does not mean that I don't need much energy. It means that the heavy pendulum works a lot smoother, and especially for those of you who count something. For example, in scientific dowsing, sometimes you count the rotations. Therefore, if you have, sorry, I have to throw away a little of energy. So when you will hold it like this, then you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on, which is practically impossible with this pendulum, because if I will say here, balance my solar plexus, then with this speed I cannot count it. It moves too fast. So again, size and weight matters. I understand that not everyone is used to work with the pendulums which are heavier. For some people, even Super Isis 16 is too heavy, which is strange to me because I'm used to working with heavier pendulums. But you can gradually come into heavier pendulums, practicing at your home with the keys and something like this. So you will not have to buy bigger and bigger and heavier pendulum before you will used to working with something what is heavier. However, you can just jump into heavier pendulum and practice, and you will used to it. Like, in the grade school, first you start to write with your pencil, and then you come into writing with pen. Just because you have to used to doing stuff with simple things, which are easy to correct, and then you go into more advanced. If you are a practitioner, I would suggest to start with the pendulum, which is mid-size. If you are new to it, if you are advanced practitioner, which means you have long-standing practice and you work with other pendulums, then definitely you can go into Super Isis 16, this big pendulum, and so on and so on. When pendulum is heavier, your work takes shorter time also. So yes, this is heavy, but the work will be done in less rotations than with this pendulum. So there is few factors which will decide if you want to have heavier or lighter pendulum, bigger or smaller pendulum. That's your decision and your practice. But with this knowledge, I hope I helped you to understand the importance of size and weight, and to make your wise, very intelligent decision. Thank you very much. One more time, happy, very happy New Year, and I will see you next month.